38 specials fired through a 38 special revolver compared to fired through a 357 Magnum revolver. This has been a debate that you often hear in the revolver world. You don't hear it much anymore because with automatic pistols it's just not as relevant. But there's always been this debate that 38 special cartridges fired through 38 special revolvers will have more velocity than 38 special cartridges fired through 357 Magnum revolvers. So there's often this debate of people saying, well, I'm going to get a 357 Magnum revolver because I have a lot more options. And then the 38 special purist will say, well, maybe, but at the same time, you're going to lose some velocity through that 357 Magnum revolver because of the jump from the taper in the cylinder. And one might wonder, what does that mean? Essentially what you have, when you look at a 38 special revolver, even though the cylinders are oftentimes the same, and actually the cylinder on this 38 special revolver here is longer than the cylinder on this 357 Magnum. But what you have is, in a 38 special revolver, the outside of the brass on a 38 special cartridge is 38.38 diameter, and then the bullet is 0.357. So what you have is in the chamber, in the cylinder, right the point where the brass ends at 0.38 and goes to 0.37 is exactly how it lines up in a 38 special cylinder. Now, a 357 Magnum, because the cartridge is longer, that space where it's 0.38 is a little bit longer to accept that cartridge of the 357 Magnum. So the whole thought is, and they've kind of tested this in the past here and there, is that when you shoot a 38 special cartridge in a 357 Magnum revolver, the bullet itself will jump, not necessarily jump, but it's not lined up exactly where it goes down to 0.357. So there's this little bit of airspace about that far where the bullet is kind of suspended in a 0.380 diameter, and then it kind of has to jump into the 0.357 diameter of the cylinder. Then it hits the forcing cone, then it goes on. So they say that reduces velocity just a little bit, and I want to kind of put that to the test. Now, I don't have the perfect example of revolvers to compare because the barrel lengths are slightly different, and I could do this the right way. I could go get my sister's Model 64, which has a 4.0 inch barrel, and compare that to my Smith & Wesson 686 that has a 4.0 inch barrel. However, I did some comprehensive measurements on these two revolvers here, and by the way, they both have a 0.004 cylinder gap, so the amount of gas loss is going to be the same. However, the Smith & Wesson actually had a little bit longer cylinder. It had a cylinder of 1.596 overall. The Taurus was 1.568. However, the barrel lengths were slightly different than listed. This is listed as a 2-inch barrel. It's actually a 2.028. Rounded off, it's still 2-inch. And this is listed at 1.875, and we're measuring from the forcing cone to the muzzle. Instead of 1.875, I have 1.862. So still rounded off, it's still going to be, both of those are going to be rounded off from 1.9. The difference in overall space between the cylinder and the muzzle, this one has an overall of 3.458, this one 3.596, so a difference of 14/100ths of an inch, rounded off a tenth of an inch. Not enough barrel length to really matter. So my whole thought on this is, if I can get equal velocity in this gun, which has 14/100ths of an inch less bullet travel, and match it to this velocity, that proves it. Now, if this one has a little bit more, you could say, well, that's the barrel length doing that. So that's what kind of makes it a little bit more fun. We have a little bit of something to debate now at this point, rather than just using 4-inch versus 4-inch and proving it right now. But if I can match or even exceed the velocities in this 38 special revolver, which has 14/100ths of an inch less bullet travel than this, then we'll prove something there. So I'm going to fire several different, I'll do two 10-round velocity readings with this Monarch 158 grain ammo. It's all from the same box. But then I'm also going to test a lot of different, I'll just do like one round of each of these different defensive rounds. Silver tip, gold dot plus P. We got the Extreme Defender, Remington HTP, Federal HST. We have the Buffalo Bar TAC XP plus P, and this standard pressure. We have some hand-loaded lead rounds, and then Buffalo Bore 158 plus P. I don't want to fire those, but we will find out whether 38 Special fires faster in a 38 Special than a 357 Magnum, if I can match the velocity and this gun that has less bullet travel. So let's go out to the range and see if we can prove or disprove anything. Alright, first rounds we're going to test are going to be the Monarch 38 Special 158 grain. I'm going to start with the Taurus, and from the muzzle we're about 8 feet from the chronograph. .762, 743, 748, 768, 748. So pretty consistent numbers. Not much of a spread on velocity. Now we'll see how the 38 Special does for velocity in a 38 Special revolver. 755, 745, 740, 717, 725. So first impression is it's not really looking good for that myth, but we'll try some defensive rounds and see how those do. Alright, a couple rounds of Winchester silver tip through the 357. .732, 877. Alright, 38 Special. 824, 845. So that's a little bit interesting with one of those readings with the 357. It's a little bit low. Alright, I have enough gold dots for just one round of this. Gold dot 357. 899. And by the way, I'm gold dot in the 357. It's 38 Special. Gold dot in the 38 revolver. Can we beat 899? No, 875. Underwood Extreme Defender 357. 995. 1032. Alright, we'll try it in the 38. 1044. 997. Yeah, kind of hard to tell. Remington HTP in the 357. 922. 901. We'll try it through the 38 revolver. 903. 929. Federal HST through the 357. 837. 822. We'll try it through the 38. 790. 834. Buffalo Bore TAC XP 110 grain plus P 357. 1152. 1149. Close velocity. We'll try it with the 38. 1106. 1109, so definitely the 357 won that one. Same round in the standard pressure. 1003, 1026, we'll do it with the 38. 1043, 1033, interesting. Buffalo Boar, 158 grain, plus P. This round is pretty notorious for recoil. But we'll see what we get for velocity and the Taurus, 357. 1026. All right, through the little alloy gun. I don't like that on this gun, but a little bit less. It's an okay round for that Taurus, but not for that. I hurt my finger. And I got a bunch of these hand loads, 200 grain, made by Lead Bullets for Life. I charge these all the same, so we'll see what kind of 5-shot average we get through the 357. $640, $663, $648, $622, $654. Let's see if we get through the 38. $628, $618, $619, $618, $633. So overall what I'm seeing is I'm seeing just a little bit more overall with that 14/100ths of an inch more barrel travel with the 357 revolver. I'm not really seeing any examples of that taper jump really making any difference. What I'm seeing is what I would expect for 14/100ths of an inch more barrel. I'm not seeing any change here when it comes to, you know, the jump in the cylinder there. So I think this in a way disproves the myth a little bit, because a lot of the quoted velocity numbers where with any same barrel length we're going to get 20-30 feet per second more, and that's kind of what you would see with 14/100ths of an inch more barrel length, and I'm not seeing that. I'm seeing that the 357 is still winning a little bit. So I would say this myth is somewhat disproved a little bit, and I personally at this point would not say, oh, you should get a 38 because that taper jump will give you more velocities if all you're going to shoot is 38. My opinion here, what I'm seeing is go for the 357 revolver, because you're really not going to get that substantial gain because it's chambered in 38 if you're going to shoot nothing but 38s. Get a 357 and shoot nothing but 38s. That's fine. That's what I'm seeing here. So yeah, answered some questions, maybe not, maybe a little bit to debate about here from now on, but that's what you get. That's what I get. So as always, comment, share, and like, and thanks for watching.